Reviewing NHL games of November 11th, 2018. Happy Remembrance Day and Happy Veterans Day to those of you living in Canada and the US. You'll notice the one game I don't have on the board, because there's 7 games on today, is the Minnesota Wild versus the St. Louis Blues. I released a video earlier in the day talking about that game. I also talked about some NHL news about William Nylander and Joel Quennville that came out on Saturday. It was reported on Sportsnet by Elliot Friedman and Chris Johnston that Kyle Dubas was asking for the teams who are interested in William Nylander to start preparing some packages, some offers, because December 1st is coming up soon, and if he's not signed by then, by somebody, he's not going to be able to play for the rest of the year. So there's a couple teams that were mentioned by those reporters, and for fun, I threw in about 5 or 6 teams in which I thought, and in my opinion, my humble opinion, where I thought he might be going and which bodies might be swapping back and forth, so on. I also talked about Joel Quennville and how Nick Kyprios said that, you know, he's might be interested in coaching again this year, but he's not interested in going to a team that's either rebuilding or in the midst of a rebuild, probably because he's 60 and he doesn't want to spend the next 4 or 5 years getting prepared. He wants to come to a team that's contending or could be contending. So I also threw in my 2 cents when it came to a handful of teams who I thought might match Joel Quenneville's preferences. Excuse me. I was a little searching for the word there. So yeah, check that video out. It was released around, I want to say 4 or 5 hours ago. Let's get to the board and the rest of the games of today, shall we? So first off, we have the Boston Bruins versus the Vegas Golden Knights. Boston, I believe both these teams played yesterday. Boston spanked Toronto 5-1 yesterday. And I should know this, but I know Vegas played yesterday as well. I just can't think of who it was. In any case, for Boston, Tuukka Rask took a personal leave from the team. We don't know what's going on yet. I'm sure it'll eventually come out. But Halak was in net last night, and he is again tonight. And Subban is in net for Vegas. And last night, it was basically the Pasternak, Bergeron, Marchand line who destroyed Toronto. I believe they had most of the goals in the game. I mean, Pasternak had a hat trick. So right now they're kind of dueling back and forth between who's the best team in the league, between them and Colorado's top line of McKinnon, Rantanen, and I can't think of the other. I should know this other name. I want to say Sodenbro, but he's a center on the second line. I should know this. In any case, those 2 lines are quite similar. There's maybe a goal or so, maybe a couple of points that separates them. The big difference between the top line in Colorado and Boston's top line is that I believe Colorado's top line has a plus-minus of like 24 as to 12 in Boston. So that first line in Colorado seems to be much better defensively as well. Let's get into this, shall we? Boston starts off the scoring with Heinen. Boston's getting depth scoring. Amazing. He gets his second of the year, assisted by Bjork. Boston go ahead 2-0. Lausanne scores his first goal of the season from Curley and Moore. Now, I only saw some highlights of this game, but I know that goal was off a guffaw. A mistake made by Subban. He went out to play the puck. He didn't. He fell, and it was basically an open netter. On to the second period. It's 2-0 Boston. 3-0 Boston. Marchand scores. There's that top line. He gets a 6th of the season, assisted by who else? Bergeron and Pasternak. Or as I like to call him, Basta. Or as everyone else calls him. Not like I made that up. I didn't start that. Yeah, I'm not taking credit for that. Not taking credit for that. I might have called him Spaghetti instead. Anyways. Next up, so now it's 3-0 Boston. Vegas gets on the board. Eakin gets his 5th of the year, assisted by Tuck. So we go into the third period. Boston's up 3-1 now. Does Vegas have any life? Nope, because Pasternak scores, gets his 16th of the year on the power play. 16th. I'm pretty sure he's got to be in the top 3 goals scored in the league right now for goal scoring. He was assisted by Krug and Krejci, who are mostly on the second line. And moving on, Boston's power play. Boston had 7 opportunities. Can you believe a team like Boston, hiccups, getting 7 opportunities? I mean, their power play against Toronto, I believe they had at least they were like 3 for 4 or something, and they were only 1 for 7 tonight, still, and Vegas was 0 for 4 on the power play. Vegas is really hurting without their 2 of their centers, because Stastny's hurt, as you may know, and so is I keep on mixing up Tuck and Holla. It's Holla because Tuck's on the board, so Holla's injured. Holla got injured in against the Maple Leafs a few days ago, and I believe he's out for a month-ish, maybe 2. So Vegas is hurting right now down the middle. In any case, and also you can see some of those guys on the power play. But Halak saves 37 of 38 shots. So Vegas peppered him. They still got a lot of shots on that. Halak has been amazing. He was really good yesterday too. That score of 5-1 when Boston beat Toronto probably would have been a lot closer, maybe even a 5-4 game if it wasn't for Halak. He's been playing magnificently. Saban saved 33 of 37. Boston is now 10-5-2 with 22 points in the season. Vegas is a 7-10-1 with 15 points. Something's got to happen there. We're almost at American Thanksgiving, which is usually the, maybe we might want to hit that trade button or panic button. And, those injuries and the suspension to their top D-man seems to be really hurting Vegas. And not to mention a little bit of inconsistent goaltending they're getting right now as compared to last year. Moving on, next game, Winnipeg Jets 5-2 over the New Jersey Devils. Winnipeg gets on the board first. Roslovic gets his first goal this season, surprisingly enough. I think Winnipeg was hoping to get more out of him. I'm trying to think. I believe he was centering the third line. That was assisted by Bufflin. Winnipeg then goes ahead 2-0. Scheifele gets his 8th goal of the year. He's really starting to get it going. Wheeler assists along with Ehlers. The usual suspects there. Now 2-0 Winnipeg. New Jersey gets on the board, makes it 2-1. Senny scores his first goal, assisted by Bratt and Severson. That guy's last name is Bratt. I'm not sure if that's really cool or he might have been teased when he was younger. In any case, second period, it's 2-1 Winnipeg. Scheifele pots another one, gets his 2nd of the game, 9th of the season, assisted by Trouba. Then New Jersey answers back. It's now a 3-2 game. Coleman gets his 5th of the year, assisted by Severson. Severson, that's his 2nd point of the night already. Winnipeg comes right back. Ehlers gets his 4th goal of the year, 2nd point of the game, assisted by Scheifele and Wheeler, who also get their 2nd points on the night as well. Scheifele, being his 3rd, Wheeler his 2nd. And then Winnipeg just, hammers it home. Perreault makes it 5-2, gets his 3rd of the year, assisted by Connor and Little. No goals in the 3rd. There was a check in this game. Bufflin took a run at Boyle, and I believe they called it. Did they call it boarding? Initially, they called it roughing. Then they called it a headshot, and then on some of the highlights they were calling it a boarding call, but it was more of an open ice hit. So I saw a couple of shots of that. I recommend go checking it out online because Bufflin's a big boy. He's 250 pounds, huge. He's 260, I believe. Yeah, 6'3", 6'4", 260, big boy. He hits hard, and Boyle is New Jersey's fourth line center, but he's no he's like 6'3", 6'4" himself, and 220 pounds, 230 pounds. So two big guys colliding. It was pretty interesting. You're gonna want to see it. To me, everyone seemed to, all the play-by-play guys and the color analysts seemed to think it was a headshot. I'm not convinced of that. I think Bufflin hit him with his, it was shoulder to shoulder, and then his head just kind of whipped back after he was checked, and then there was a scrum afterwards and everything. But you be the judge. I would love to hear your thoughts on that one. On the power play, Winnipeg only got one opportunity, went 0 for 1. New Jersey went 0 for 3. Hellebuck made 34 or 36 saves. He looked marvelous in this game. Positionally, he looks like he's really getting he looked really focused. Schneider, who's, I'm not sure if this is his first game back after a long injury, maybe his first, maybe his second, but in any case, he stops 23 of 28 saves. He looked a bit iffy on maybe one or two of those goals. Only time will tell to see if he gets back to his normal self, maybe the year before last, because last year, at the beginning of the year, he wasn't too great either. Winnipeg is now 10-5-1 with 21 points. New Jersey's now 6-8-1 with 13. New Jersey's sort of settling back down the earth. I kind of predicted this in my season beginning predictions on where I thought teams would end up. You can catch that video on my page as well. And I had, although Jersey, of course, got one of the last spots in the playoffs last season, and they went against Tampa Bay, I had them missing the playoffs this year by about a few spaces. So in any case, let's move on to Arizona Coyotes beats the Washington Capitals 4-1. This is important for a couple reasons, because Washington's almost is getting scarily close to being a 500 team right now, and with a new coach. And I know Carlson was out a couple of games, but otherwise I think they're relatively healthy. One or two guys, here and there. Is it the new coach? Is it more of the hangover? Will they bounce back? I'm pretty sure, and I think everyone else thinks that Washington's going to make the playoffs. But, in what position, who knows, in how they're doing at this point. But Arizona's also playing a good game. Tocchet's really got the engine running here. Let's start off with Hinestroza. I love saying that name. This kid is sort of coming out of nowhere. Everyone's was looking at Keller to see how well he was going to do this season. And this kid got his fourth goal of the season on the power play, assisted by Strome and Panic in the first period, 1-0 Arizona. Second period, Panic gets his fourth of the season unassisted. That's his second point of the night. 2-0 Arizona. Washington answers. Backstrom gets his fourth of the season, assisted by Ovechkin and Bowie. Or is it Bowie, I guess. I'm thinking, anyway. Arizona then goes ahead 3-1. Galchenyuk gets his third on the power play of the season, assisted by Perlini and Ekman Larson. And then starting into the third period, the only goal scored by Arizona again by Stefan, who's the first line center there, gets his fourth of the season, assisted by Galchenyuk, who I believe is centering the second line right now, and Keller. There's Keller. And so Arizona was 2 for 5 on the power play. Washington was 0 for 2. And Kemper, saved 38 of 39 shots. I think his last game, he looked a little shaky, but overall, Kemper, along with Ranta, who's injured, I believe, at the moment, he's doing really well. Arizona's getting some good goaltender from both goalies. So Holtby saves 18 of 29, 18 of 21. Arizona only had 21 shots. Usually those shot totals might be reverse. Arizona's known to put a lot of shots on that, but hey, they won the game, right? Holtby's sort of having a bit of a roller coaster of a season so far. In any case, Arizona's now 8-7-1. They're over 500, and they've got 17 points. Washington's now 7-6-3 with 17 points as well. Next up, we have the Florida Panthers win 5-1 over the Ottawa Senators. Ottawa spanked Tampa the other night, like 5-1 or something. Ottawa's such a strange team. I guess teams, maybe they come in, teams like Tampa, contending teams, come in thinking it's going to be an easy win, and they're not ready to work, and Ottawa just, catches them off guard. But not in this game. Florida was prepared. And we start off the scoring with Ottawa, though. Zingle gets his 9th of the year on the power play, assisted by Tierney and Lajoie. In the second period, it's all Florida. And for the rest of the game, really, they score all their 5 goals in the 5th period. Starting off with Barkov, who gets his 4th, assisted by Hoffman and Dadonov. Huberdeau then gets his 4th of the year on the power play, assisted by Yandel and Trocheck. Barkov gets his 2nd of the game, his 5th of the season, assisted by Kislevich and Hoffman. Hoffman also gets his 2nd point of the game here. This is when they... did they chase the goalie at this point? Something happened at this point. No. McKenna was in there for the whole entire game. Maybe I'll remember it as I move along here. In any case, Florida scores again, makes it 4-1. Brouwer gets his 3rd of the season, assisted by, how do you pronounce this? Sevoir, and Leminko. Then Florida puts the last hammer in the coffin there. Vetranos gets his 5th of the season, assisted by Huberdeau and Kislevich, who get, I believe, their 2nd points of the evening. Florida goes 1-4-3 on the power play. Ottawa does as well, 1-for-5. That's how they got their first goal. Reimer saves 34-35 shots. Reimer had a good night. Reimer is also one of those goalies where you don't know, what's going to happen when he gets in net. It seems like he only plays his best when he's got hard competition behind him. I know this because I watch a lot of Toronto games, and when he played for Toronto, that was sort of the case for the most part anyway. McKenna saves 35 of 40 shots. Florida had 40 shots on net. So, wow. Anyways, Florida's now 6-5-3. Florida's over 500. No way. And I know that 3 is overtime losses, but whatever their points. And they got 15 points in the season now. Ottawa's 7-8-3. They just fall below 500. They got 17 points on the season. Next game up, San Jose Sharks versus the Calgary Flames. San Jose gets on the board first. Kane scores his 6th of the season from Pavelski and Donskoy. Now, Smith was in net for this one. This is his first game back in a couple of games now. I don't think this game was Smith's fault. He had a decent save percentage for this game. And although Kane's shot was nice and was from the top of the circle, it was glove side, and I don't know, I thought he should have it. Check out the goal. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Second period, San Jose goes up 2-0. Donskoy scores his 4th of the season, assisted by Kane and Pavelski. You just kind of rearrange the whole scoring lineup from the first goal there. And all those guys get their 2nd point of the night. Calgary answers back. Monahan gets his 9th of the season, assisted by Jankowski. Now, I saw highlights of this game as well, and that Calgary goal actually came from a direct giveaway from Erik Karlsson. He blew a tire coming out of his own zone and coughed up the puck, and before you knew it, it was in the net. Karlsson's having a rough start to the season so far. And that's all she wrote. Well, except for in the third period, Pavelski gets his 3rd point of the night. and his 8th goal of the season, assisted by Hurdle and Meyer. That was towards the end of the game, less than a minute left, so I think that might have been an empty netter. San Jose goes 0 for 3 on the power play. Calgary has no power play. Not one. I mean, they had... San Jose did take a penalty, but they were coinciding penalties, so they canceled each other out. So Calgary didn't have a power play all game. You don't see too many of those. San Jose is now 9-6-3 with 21 points. They seem to be showing signs of the team who we all thought they would be before the start of the season. Calgary is now 10-7-1, still respectively, with 21 points. And last game of the night, I watched this one for the most part. Colorado Avalanche beats the Edmonton Oilers 4-1. Both these teams were coming off of losing streaks. Both had 17 points going into this game. In the first period, Rantanen gets his 6th of the year, assisted by McKinnon and Landeskog. Landeskog, that was the player I was trying to remember on Colorado on that top line. That top line, and this is a throwback to the start here, has been right up there. It's a big debate across the league for all the newscasters and broadcasters now, and who do you think has the best line? Is it Florida's number one or Colorado's? In any case, Colorado then goes up 2-0 in the first. The second line gets on the board. Soderberg gets a 6th of the season, assisted by Barrie and Calvert. Barrie looked amazing in this game. I'm a Toronto fan, and I may be calling Colorado saying, how about a Nylander? We like this Barrie kid. I think there'd be more bodies involved for both teams, but in any case, moving on to the second period, Colorado goes ahead 3-0. Careford gets his 3rd goal of the season on the power play, assisted by Soderberg, gets the second point of the night, and Girard. And then Colorado goes ahead 4-0. Barrie gets his second point of the night, his first goal of the season, assisted by Rantanen and McKinnon, the first line there. Barrie just looked good in both zones, offensively, defensively. He's positioned really well. He blocked a couple shots. His skating is unreal. He's a real fantastic skater. The way he carries the puck to the neutral zone is amazing. In the third period, Edmonton shows they're alive. Now, Ratty gets this goal, his 2nd of the season, from Larson and Lucic. But most of the work for this goal was, because these guys had just jumped on the ice, was done by the 4th line, who was Edmonton's best line all night. Cassian was hitting everything that moved. That 4th line just went into the offensive zone and just beat you up. It almost looked, at a certain point, there was like multiple hits going on at once. It was like a bowling alley for Edmonton. And they were the only thing showing a pulse on that team. And that started to spark the bench in the third period. And from that point on, for the rest of the game, up until they got a penalty with, I believe it was with 3 minutes remaining, Edmonton was really starting to show some life because of that line. I hope they start playing Cassian more and even spotting him up and down the lineup. I know he had asked for a trade earlier in the season. I think Edmonton needs to hold on to him. In any case, Colorado goes 1 for 2 on the power play. Edmonton goes 0 for 3. Got to look after that special teams, McLennan. And Varlamov has a great game. Saves 26 of 27 shots. One in particular on Ty Ratty, from a pass from McDavid, I believe. He went from left to right to left. What a fabulous save. Look that up on social media as well. You're going to want to see that JPEG over and over again. Koskinen made 12 of 13, saved 12 of 13 shots. Now, this is the asterisk that I was thinking about earlier, but it was a different team. In any case, there was a goalie change here for Edmonton because Talbot was in net. but when Colorado scored their third goal and it went up 3-0, that's when Talbot came off the ice, and Koskinen came in. Talbot just looked off the whole game. He let in a goal early. He looked kind of awkward out there. I mean, it wasn't completely his fault on all the goals. Edmonton's defense just doesn't look in tune. Really, their whole team doesn't look in tune right now. Guys aren't getting open for the puck carrier. Defense is caught puck watching all the time or out of place. That sounds like, 0 for 3 on the power play. That sounds like a lot of the coaching. I know Edmonton has been like a cemetery for coaches in the past, 7-8 years now, or more. But maybe it's time for change. Maybe it's time to change the GM too. Anyway, I don't mean to. I don't hate Edmonton. I don't hate the Oilers. I really hope they do well. A couple of years ago when they were in the playoffs, I was rooting for them all the way. But it's just that's hard for the Oiler fans. Hopefully they'll turn it around. Colorado, we talked about the power play already, and we talked about the saves. So Colorado's now 8-6-3 with 19 points. So they had about a 4 or 5 game losing streak there. They've come out of it now because they started off really hot to the season. Edmonton is at 500, and they're 8-1 with 17 points. So yeah, there you go. That's it. That's all. This video's longer than I anticipated already. As usual, thank you so much for watching. I would really love to hear your opinion, your thoughts and comments about some of the stuff that happened today, including who you think the best line in the NHL is, what you thought of that Varlamov save in the Colorado game. I'd love to hear about that. I'd love to hear what you thought about the Byfuglien hit, if you thought it was a head hit or not on Boyle. Things like that, things of that nature. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. And if you have any hockey geek friends, please don't feel shy about sharing. Thank you again, and I'll see you soon.